For everybody. Ready, Mike?
No.
I'd like to call to order the July 25th Parks and Recreation Board meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call. Mike, if you would, please.
Cindy Suze,
Here.
Mike Moffett,
Here.
Dave Beazle,
Here.
and Bart Tusley is absent.
Okay. Item number 4, consent agenda. Claims for the month or the previous, between now and the previous meeting. Mike, if you would elaborate.
Yeah, so in front of you is the claims. This basically went June 17th through July 14th of when the invoices would have been turned in. We have all together here $71,054.69 for the month of July.
And there's nothing that we've carried over from the previous that I'm aware of.
No, yeah, no. Everything would just be during that time frame, June 17th through July 14th.
I know some of you guys have probably looked at your email and saw all them pages and said, yeah, I'll pass. Yeah, nothing looks out of the ordinary to me. I will entertain a motion to accept the claims as posted.
So moved.
And I will second that.
So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor of these claims?
Question.
Okay.
Mike, with respect to the page 2 of the docket on the second to the last column, which is for payment for the Founders Park Consulting, is this the last payment on this? You know?
Yes, in the email even he'd sent, yes, they said this was the last payment for the Founders Park project.
Don't want to see any more from him.
Nope.
No, I don't think, I can double check too, see if anything else was left, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that would be the final payment.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Having heard none, then I will take the motion and the second and bring it in front that we accept the claims as posted here for the time frame of end of June to middle of July. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. It carries 3-0. Minutes from the June 27th, 2023 Park and Recreation Study Session meeting. You have a copy of that. That was prior to our meeting, our regular board meeting. And that was pretty much a wrap-up of things to come. Or am I misspoking?
Did you just say study session?
Yeah,
No, yeah, no, we had no study session.
I was
in
going to
June.
say, that was the month before,
That
my
was in
bad.
May,
These are
yeah.
the actual minutes from June 27th.
Yeah, we only had the one meeting in.
That's right.
In June.
My bad. So yeah, this is the minutes of the actual meeting on June 27th at our normal scheduled time for the Parks and Rec Board minutes. And some of the things that happened there. Take a quick peek if anybody has any questions. That's fine. Otherwise, I will accept a motion to.
Do we have to defer it until next month because we don't have?
Well,
quorum
I
because
think
Mike
we
wasn't
can
here?
make a motion, but I think a 2-0 vote won't change anything, will it?
You have to have,
Still vote to approve the minutes.
I was thinking, I read over them, I watched it on the,
Right,
Okay.
online, I have no objections with the minutes.
Just reviewing that they are,
correct, right.
in that sense, that he doesn't, he is not prevented from voting because he was absent.
Okay,
Thank you. I will make a motion.
all right, so I have a motion.
I will second that.
I have a second. All in favor of accepting the minutes from the June 27, 2023 Parks Recreation meeting, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So the minutes are taken care of. That moves us into item number 5, which is new business. Okay. Got a couple things to cover here. 2023 Parks and Recreational Department offerings and park information is number A, and then A of that is the independent contractors agreement with skateboard program fee. Mr. O'Shea.
Yeah, so both of these here, A and B, just have to do with the our online brochure that we do. But this first one has to do with Pitbull skateboarding. We are going to start doing programming with them, contractual programming with them. We started off doing some summer stuff here at the end of the summer. We're going to roll into some fall activities too, and then this will also roll into next year as well. So the first one is an independent contractor agreement that we would have with Pitbull Skateboarding going through now, going through the end of the year, basically. And then in your packet there just will list just a little breakdown of it, kind of showing you what this particular program would be. And then what I don't have here is some of the fall stuff, but as we work on that, I will bring it over to you guys as we go. But this was basically a starting point with Pitbull, so we can move forward for this year. And then as normal, that also with the independent contractor agreement, the fee would have to be approved by you guys as well.
And what is our part of this?
This particular one this program fee is $225, where the contractor would get $175 per skater, and then we would receive $50.
Okay. And how soon would they like to start?
Now we're pretty much doing it now.
Okay.
And just to get it going, and then we're going to be kind of going now until the end of the fall, or until the weather's bad, basically.
Okay. So that the time frame is kind of to be determined based on weather.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I would say ideally though, probably go until Halloween. I would say,
Okay.
unless November gets to be really nice.
Gotcha.
But then the plan is to do this next year at the beginning of the year, so we'll have them out all through the year.
And because we approved all these other fees a couple months ago, this is a special fee. We have to take this as it.
Yeah, at that time we had them all together,
Right.
basically, so we kind of did them all at once. So ideally, we would have this at the beginning of the year, where then we can just do everything at once
Right.
again. So this would be a new program,
Okay.
New class.
One question I have, we have any kind of background checks on these guys, just since they're teaching kids? Just because I know all the baseball, the coaches have to go through that, I know the schools.
Yeah, sure. We have not done any background checks. I haven't, even on the contractual programs that we have now. We have not done any. We can though.
I think that would be a good idea,
Yeah.
just because if something were to happen, they're like, you never even checked?
Yeah, no, true. This is through like their company, right, and some of the other contractors too. It's just their company too, so they would be hired by the in this case Pitbull, and they should do the background check, you would think stuff. But yeah, I can
Because
get a
they
hold of
might
them and
already do
figure
it
out.
through.
Yeah, no,
That
correct.
would be something that,
Correct.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I can discuss
We should
that,
have
yeah.
access to that information.
Well, we should be doing our own background
Right.
verification on an independent contractor, especially to your point, Mike, if they're dealing with kids, there should be a background check on them.
I agree.
We do backgrounds on our staff, so obviously we'd want to do that on our contractors that are dealing with the kids. Has legal looked at the agreement?
Just through the packet,
Okay.
not for, review in that sense.
Are you
but
looking to
just-
get this approved now, Mike, or, because I would recommend if you're going to do that,
Wait to the background check.
well, you put that provision within the agreement, and then you have this pending legal review.
Okay.
Approve it pending legal review. Once legal review has cleared it, then you're good.
Well, if they've started already, then I think we need to make it clear on where we stand.
Yeah, we haven't started yet as far as, we've started as far as advertising and stuff like
Okay.
that. We haven't actually done a class
Okay,
yet, though.
gotcha.
I think it's a great idea. A lot of kids are interested, so.
No,
Yeah, but I can get that's fine. Background
so
check
if we
is
do
fine.
entertain a motion, then we want to have an exclusionary part of that being that until legal addresses it, looks over it.
I would just put the motion as pending legal review of the independent agreement and any revisions to that agreement.
That would cover it.
Okay, good. And to me, I mean, that $50 fee that the town gets is roughly about what we have gotten on other styles of independent contracting, so I will entertain a motion for a independent contract with Pitbull Skateboarding with the provision pending legal oversight and sign off, or however you want to put it,
Pending legal.
review.
And any amendments.
Right, and anything that might be changed, so.
So moved.
So I have a motion,
I will second that.
I have a second. Okay, all in favor of handing out this contract to put Pitbull Skateboarding for the total amount of $225, $175 for the independent contractor, $50 for the town. Pending legal review, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You have it. Okay, summer camp proposal. Mike, you want to elaborate on that?
This was soccer, youth soccer league, not summer camp, but on item number B there and stuff like that. But this is basically, we are going to go and attempt to do this is a short recreational soccer league for grades K through 4. Some we're gonna kind of mirror it similar to how the youth sand volleyball league goes. And kind of doing the same thing. We're planning on using various places within the town, Gates Park being one of them. But this would be similar to what we just did with this would not be contractual, but this would be similar to the fee-wise for approving. So we were going to do this for $65 and do a 6-week season here in the fall with the plan on doing it again kind of throughout next year. So. And this would be in-house.
And do we have enough staffing for this? Or are we going to ask for it as parents, or what?
Yeah, I mean, similar to how our volleyball league is ran, that is done through parents, basically, volunteers and stuff like that too. So it would be a similar setup. We would, same way we got the referees for volleyball, we would do the same thing, get referees for soccer, basically. High school age kids, college age kids, stuff. So.
And would we have to set a maximum of kids that we could facilitate based on our current facilities, or?
No. I mean, even for the summer camp that we did, I mean, we necessarily didn't set a max. As they would, the plan is to be as they would come in, then to put them where we can and stuff like that. So, for instance, we would use different, places at, Civic Park, places at Gates Park, Edgewood Estates Park, kind of all over, basically. The idea would be to, the friend request too, same way we would do with the Sand Volleyball League, and I mean, seeing there will be things that we wouldn't even have to get, obviously, with like shirts or jerseys, or I mentioned referees and stuff like that too. So there's necessarily not a cap we were going to put on it right now. We were just going to do it and see what the interest was, basically, and then roll it into next year.
But don't we have to set a fee?
$65.
Okay, and that will cover, in your
Yeah.
opinion, everything we would need to get that rolling?
Well, yes, for now. And then, we'll reevaluate it at the end. That $65 is similar to the volleyball league fees. Well, I believe that's $70. But we decided to start off here with $65.
Sure. Any questions, guys? Okay. Hearing none, then I will entertain a motion to start a youth all soccer league with the town of St. John for the fee of $65 to be held at various parks in the town. And it would be operated on a similar plan that we have currently with volleyball, where it would be non-contractual agreement with an independent contractor, but basically in-house. Correct?
Correct.
I will make that motion.
I have a motion.
I'll second it.
I have a second. So that's how we'll leave it, and all in favor of that, of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Item B, request to purchase, American Structure Point.
So this is just an updated RTP, request to purchase from American Structure Point, or for American Structure Point. Previously, you guys had signed an RTP for $25,000. On their invoice, there was the reimbursable expenses that was in there, $259.55 on the latest invoice that they had sent. So we basically, the RTP was signed out for $25,000. So with that $259.55, this brought it to $25,259.55. So for this, just basically looking to approve the RTP for American Structure Point now at $25,259.55.
I guess my only question is, in your opinion, does that encompass all payments to them for work done? Or are you expecting any more?
As of now, yes, that would cover. I mean, this particular one was the facility needs assessment study.
Correct.
I believe. So I think we should be okay with everything else. I did send a message to see if there was anything else that we weren't aware of, I guess, or wasn't sure, or didn't put in the RTP and stuff. So, but as of right now, yes, this should be everything.
So what are we reimbursing them for? For them to do their presentation and to feed them in their hotels?
On the invoice, reimbursable expenses were for the travel, meals, and rental fee.
So the 259 was out of the scope of the original contract agreement, which necessitated a change in the amount to the 259. And the reason it has to be done is because you can't bifurcate, which is a fancy word for divide, a request to purchase on your purchase order. So to make the State Board of Accounts happy and everyone else happy, the need for a new request to purchase is required. And that's the short of the long of it.
So every time they come to one of our meetings, we're going to have to pay? Lodging and hotels?
If it's outside the scope of the original agreement, then it would change the terms of that agreement and it require us to pay more. We've only approved the 25K, not the additional outside the scope. So then it would have to come back before you if they were to get any more. But to Mike's point, I don't think that's going to be the case.
And quite honestly, I was unaware of this type of add-on even being a part of it. I thought it was all encumbering when we signed up for this, meaning they would have to make at least one trip up here to do their own assessment. And that was part of the 25. I didn't realize the presentation was going to be more out of pocket, but I don't see that as being an unusual amount. Any other questions, concerns? That was for the presentation that Matt O'Rourke came up here and did before, what, it was an impact fee committee and planning commission, if I remember correctly. He spent half a day here overnight.
Yeah,
This is
right.
actually Dan McCloskey. That's at least what's itemized in the billing. It was Dan McCloskey, gas for rental, meal out of town. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's the project manager, but the guy that was actually here doing the presentation was Matt O'Rourke.
But the fees are for Dan McCloskey.
Okay. So we could see additional, because Dan came up here as part of the original assessment as the project manager, to my knowledge.
Yeah, he's showing this May 23rd and May 24th. And then May 29th, Amex charge for rental fees, I'm assuming car rental.
So I guess I'll come back with my question that we could see another expense report from Matt O'Rourke when he came up here a month ago.
Giving you any indication, Tyler? Tyler, I'm sorry, Mike.
Yeah, this was, this is when Dan came up to the park board meeting on May 24th, or May 23rd.
Right.
That was for the, yeah.
But they, when you asked, didn't say any more was forthcoming, this was,
No, no, although I didn't get a reply back yet, from that and stuff like that, so. But this would have been the 23rd. When Matt was here,
I think he only came in for the day because that was a conversation that I had with him because I was here. But I can't honestly tell you that that's how it went down.
and the agreement, for what it's worth, does provide, obviously, for compensation for reimbursable expenses for the architect or the architect's consultants, transportation authorized out-of-town travel, postage handling, anything else that's approved, as being in addition to that flat rate of the 25,000. So I would think that, I would have thought they would have put these together as one expense reimbursement as, at the conclusion of this part of the contract, but
Right, that was my basic question is, I don't want to see another one next month for the next guy.
Well, Mike,
I think you could.
are we sure that there's not going to be any additional? Because my thing is why do the RTP? Wait till next month.
Wait till
until we
next
get
month.
the
Correct, that's,
corrected amount. And they could just wait for their money if they need another $259.
yeah, I don't
Another
have
month.
I don't have an exact answer right now.
Yeah.
I would have to double check. I don't think my initial opinion was no, I don't think there was gonna be any more, but, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, so I could, we can hold off now and wait. We can hold off now and wait, that's fine.
other than,
It's not like they're not going to get paid.
no,
Well,
but
yeah,
if they
no.
sent this invoice through, the pretty standard language here that they have in the agreement is that upon their presentation of an invoice, that it would be paid within 45 days, or it would bear interest at a rate of 12% if paid after that, which is pretty standard, on a billing cycle if they're billing monthly. And they have that obligation, to submit those timely, so for purposes of that, in good faith pursuant to the agreement, I'd recommend you take action on it now.
Wouldn't these be considered like separate payments? Like the 25,000, we should just pay that, and this should be a new one that they want 259, so we should do.
Well, it is a separate payment under the contract as a reimbursable expense, so that they have to submit invoicing for that. And it's only for those items. It's only for those
So with
items.
respect to that, they could just approve the payment for the 12,500 and hold off on the 259? Because that was already approved prior by the request to purchase. I mean, the request to purchase is,
Absolutely. That was part of the prior
and
approval.
just not pay the 259 at this point until we know for sure that the rest of the,
Well, other than the fact, you're not talking a lot of money in that sense, but otherwise you are looking at a 12% interest if it's not paid in 45 days. So you're talking another, $30.
Like, I'm kind of in favor, like, let's pay the 25,000, we approve that.
Right.
We'll get that done. Then if we want to do the 259, I think that should be a separate. And if we want to do that tonight, then we do it. Or is that not how it works?
No, it's absolutely, can be.
Yeah, it's just what we had with the RTP, that's what it comes down to, because we had it for 25,000 on the RTP. and the clerk's office had asked if we can do this so everything could pay paid off as once. And as Joe kind of mentioned, normally you don't want to try to divide things up. Just keep it all under one.
Otherwise, you're gonna have another
Stuff
RTP
like
next
that,
month for 25,500 and some.
Yeah, I'm not, like I say, I'm not opposed to paying the money.
Right.
I just have a sneaking suspicion that this isn't a closed door yet. That's,
I agree.
Well,
I
I'll get
think just
some
because
more.
there's gonna be
Well,
other
then,
visits.
at that point, it just makes sense to approve the RTP, make the payment, and just be done with it. Because why?
then see how it goes down the
Yeah,
road.
and if we have to do another RTP, just expect that next month.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. No, but,
Now, they need to review each one of them.
All right.
because again, you can't bifurcate or divide the RTPs.
Correct.
Right. So.
Any other questions or comments? All right, if that's the end of the discussion, then I will entertain a motion for us to pay this RTP for the newly adjusted amount of $25,259.55 to American Structure Point.
So moved.
And I will second that.
So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, passes 3-0. Let's hope that is the end of that. All right. C, National Fitness Campaign. And I believe Patrick's going to give us a little bit of enlightenment on that.
So, yeah, as it states, this one doesn't need any sort of action today, but it is something that I'm looking into as far as a future potential project in some of the open green space that we may have. National Fitness Campaign is obviously a fitness campaign that helps, it offers grant money to help put in their structures. It's a 38 by 38 pad that has various built-in fitness structures. There's no loose equipment. There's no freestanding equipment. So there's no ability for anybody to take any of the equipment away. But I do think this is something that would be nice to have, and at least one of the parks. I think this is something that is starting to happen in a lot of the parks in the area. A lot of the different towns are putting in fitness, if not these big fitness facilities, fitness equipment in their parks and throughout their trails. So this is just a campaign to start that process.
And then if I can I'll add to it too and stuff. So National Fitness Campaign, they're starting now their application process going on now for 2024. They normally do this every year, and St. John was one of the cities, town, they said city, but one of the towns that they had reached out to us. They also reached out last year. I don't know if you remember back in August, we briefly mentioned it at our park advisory meeting and stuff like that we had. That was a little bit too late in the game and stuff like that to do anything. Anyway, they reached out to us about doing this for 2024. And the reason kind of bringing it forward was to kind of get your opinion, as Pat kind of mentioned, and see if this is something that we kind of wanted to look into. This is not necessarily it's mentioned as a grant opportunity, but not necessarily I would say it would be a grant opportunity. The grant opportunity was $30,000 basically. The project as a whole would range anywhere from $155,000 to $177,000, and that's after getting that $30,000. So it's about $207,000 altogether. It would be a 38 by 38 concrete slab with like pour in place material kind of up on the actual fitness court, and then some freestand boxes, pull-up bars, different kind of immovable objects that you kind of see kind of throughout the packet and stuff. So different locations we were looking at just in our conversations was Patno Park, Heartland Park, maybe up near where the volleyball would be. Civic Park, Homestead Village property, which is off that St. John Trail. That kind of connects into those. Edgewood Estates was another one. A lot of these have just some open land, some open green space. Parking is always a big thing too. Obviously, Civic and Heartland would be good with the parking and kind of what we have, but something that we kind of lack through all the parks, all of our parks. Anyway, but so the purpose of this was to kind of just bring it forward and see if this was something that we would like to look further into. In your packet there, I did give you a link to a video that you can watch and kind of give you a little better idea of how it looks. A lot of these are placed in just green space areas, not necessarily connected to maybe a larger park that has parking, but not necessarily connected to a parking lot, or it's connected to a path. That the idea would be to walk the path, run the path, and then go to add this in there and stuff. So yoga could be done on this. Pilates, doing other various types of programming, too,
Yeah.
would be a plus side with this. So, but they're starting their application process for 2024. And that's why we wanted to bring it forward, just to kind of get your take on it.
I guess my only question would be, is this a single site operation, you think, or could this turn into a multi-site based on where we're at in the town? Let's just say we put one at the north end. Would we then at some point in time look to put one at the south end?
I mean, you're talking to somebody who would love to see that. I would love
Okay.
to see as many fitness facilities in
Right,
in the area as possible. No, the reason, yes, this is something that we would love to be able to move and or not move to have at different sites, whether starting with one and then moving to 2 to 3, and like you said, north end, south end, east, west. More so for me, it's again trying to bring more recreational activities into the fold of St. John and St. John Parks and Recreation. So when it comes to, like he was saying, the fitness classes, your strength and conditioning classes, and then whether it be youth programs, adult programs, you're bringing a lot more of that into the fold of St. John Parks and Recreation to make it more affordable for St. John residents.
You have a running club right now?
Correct,
You
yes.
have a lot of participants?
I have 9 participants in that running club right now. So, and this will be another shoot off. So yes, everything that we're trying to do with the strength and conditioning class that we started up last fall, the stretch and mobility class that we have, and we started up. It's running at Coling Elementary over here, which is fine, and I love that Lake Central has opened up their facilities to us, and that's amazing. But again, if this would be one of those opportunities to sort of bring it in-house again, if you will, and continue with that campaign and continue with that mindset, just trying to bring more opportunity to the people.
I think it's a great idea. I just don't know if we should be looking at this yet. Because I know we're talking about the gates, that's like a huge project that's going on. We're talking about piecemeal already. I kind of think we should be trying to get that done, 'cause I know we're still wanting to get lights out there, everything I know we're bringing up a little bit for that park. I think we should, for $237,000 that's gonna be coming out of our pocket, it might be better invested into that skate park. Because $30,000, it sounds like a lot when you say 30,000, but when you're looking at a $260,000 project, they're not really giving us that much.
Yeah, I guess
Just my opinion, I'm thinking, it's a great idea, I love it.
100% agree.
But I think we should finish that product, because that product has potential to be, I think that's gonna be as nice or better than the ice rink park.
I don't disagree with that at all. I guess my thought process is always, what's our return on investment? And right now, when I see something like the skate park, which is great, I think the skate park is great and everything, but we have one program that is able to run with the skate park, and that's just skate lessons. So I get it, but it's very narrow in its focus. I think, and I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, I think taking and finishing the project is important, and this is just a way for us to get the conversation started about something like a facility like this. But I do think that our return on investment for something like this would be a lot higher for skate park, something like the skate park.
tennis, pickleball, soccer. They can even do football out there
At Gates?
at the gates.
Sure.
Like those are other little options too. So I mean, there's a little bit of return there. But
Yeah,
like I
well,
said,
you gotta have the people who are you're gonna start that program over there?
No, well, I realize this is your thing. That's why I feel bad. I'm not. saying that-
I'm not, I
I mean,
absolutely
I'd
not
love
taking
but
it personally.
I would love, when I was running it, that'd be a great place to stop, do whatever,
Correct.
but I don't want to get too spread out too far.
Sure, no, I agree.
Even if not doing anything now and stuff like that, but just continuing the conversation and stuff, that we can lead into, 2025 too and stuff like that. So this is necessarily just a starting point and just to, kind of, see, where we're at and stuff like that. And yes, the Gates Park, that's, we even talked about doing things one at a time anyway and stuff and finishing it and then, moving on and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, we'll continue to talk to them and stuff, just to keep the communication open and stuff. But, yeah, we'll after we'll finish this one thing, and then we have there's other stuff we have listed too. I know other priorities on there as well. So, but yeah, no, but not we know that at least the idea is there. You like the idea and stuff, and then we'll kind of work through it on there and stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, my only comment would be, I would like to revisit this, but, and I agree with Mike, we have some priorities that we need to get in order first and see where we land there, because it appears that most of the time, we end up spending more than what we originally think anyway, so, yeah, I mean, I like the idea, but yeah, it's just for information thing. Thanks, Pat. I
Thank you.
have nothing else. Anybody else?
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, item D, youth ball field lease agreement. I will give you just a little bit of background on that. It was brought up in the spring with both softball and baseball about our lease agreements with them two organizations. There has been some people interested in revisiting that lease agreement based on their priorities, our priorities. It's about 10 years old. There's some talk about extending it to travel teams and such. So what we did is forwarded it to Nicole to look over the lease agreements and to review them and to then entertain some questions or comments pursuant to what we can and cannot do, how we would possibly amend or not amend a lease agreement, with our priorities being obviously the town first. So at this point, other than information, Mike's gotten a little, I've gotten a little, Nicole's gotten a little. So at this point, I would like to just say that we are looking into it. We will have it reviewed by legal, and then once they do that, we can come up with a program or a plan moving forward. Any questions concerning that? I mean, it is a 10-year-old agreement. I'm sure there's probably some things that we could clean up, and that way we have definitive what our response is, or what our responsibility is, and what theirs is, because right now it's pretty one-sided for them as far as costs go. So
What's the term of this agreement? Is it 35 years?
25.
25.
25?
Well, like, the baseball, we're only like 6 years into,
Right. I want to say it was like 2014 or 2017.
16, I
Probably
believe. I
16.
saw it earlier, and not
Okay.
February, so that's what I was looking
2017.
for.
Okay.
Sir, do the organizations have a capital investment on the baseball fields at all?
What is
Not to
that?
my
I
knowledge.
believe baseball did, I believe softball did.
Would they got any skin in the game?
They probably put $50,000-$60,000 a year into the grass. I know when I was there, we had like
So your sport mix,
$55,000
stuff like
project
that.
just on the Babe Ruth field.
Yeah.
Where we renovated all that whole infield, we skinned it,
Yeah.
put new sprinklers in there. I mean, I know they did all the fence work they've done.
That was my question. So they
Yes.
they routinely put money into this. And I kind of figured that, but I was just asking the question. Yeah.
And I know that was part of out there, that's why they put so much money out there, is because they can lock those gates.
Right.
Throughout here, they don't put as much into them.
Right.
Because everybody can easily jump the fence or just walk out there, so,
Right,
you know.
right. Yeah, it makes sense.
So yes, they did have a lot of skin in the game out there.
Mm-hmm.
For the boys' side, I couldn't claim anything towards girls. I don't know anything about
They always
theirs.
get shortchanged. I don't know why, but it just seems to be that way.
Well, like I said, we're gonna let legal look into that a little bit deeper and find out and give us a report, and then we will get back with both organizations and give them their options moving forward and see how they wanna deal with it, because like anything else, over time, our program has gotten bigger. I know I was told by softball people that they had to turn away some late registrations because they just didn't have the facilities to accommodate
Yeah, and it
them.
looks like they're trying to expand their capacity for that, so
Correct.
that's good.
So, beyond, you know, what we have currently or what we may need in the future is something that we at least have to put on our radar for future, so. It's gonna start with legal, so, and we'll move on from there. All right. Old business, Gate Park Improvement Project update, Mike.
Okay, I emailed you the complete packet and stuff for the Gates Park, probably around like 3:30 this afternoon, when I got it from Robinson. But in here is just basically an overview of the entire layout. This would be page 4 of that thing I emailed you, the link. So please go through it, you know, and let me know if you have any questions or whatnot. But this is how I was looking at it. Is this was basically going to be it as far as making any changes. And this was almost going to be kind of like the final layout, and then start, you know, bidding out the projects and stuff like that. So the skate park, I'll start from the right-hand side there, from the Klein Avenue side. That little gray circle that you see on the parking lot off of Klein Avenue there, that was the little flooding area that we were going to fix. So that was going to, you see kind of like the drainage, and patch it, you know, to make it, you know, usable. When we get those heavy rains, the water just sit there for a while, and you know, this will be a better improvement for that. Also down by the skate park, over, that would be the south end of it. There is some low spots too that we were going to regrade and get some standing water, some drainage stuff out of the way from there. You see on the if you it doesn't really show the bowl in there and stuff, but the bowl will be right at the very beginning, and then right to the left of that you'll see two little like darker gray lines, and that's basically kind of the drainage stuff that we'll get rid of. Again, when it rains a lot of standing water just in those two spots, the parking lot and over in that area of the park, or the skate park. The walking path will then be connected. Again, we have about half of it now. You'll see the dark gray line there of the walking path will connect in from the skateboard side all the way down to where the playground side would be. In the middle, there's a soccer field layout. That is 70 yards by 115 yards, which is a full-size field. Those are two full-size fields kind of side by side there. And that's also to show, you know, the largest area that we could have based on what we have shown altogether.
It looks like he's got drain tiles or something under there.
There is drainage.
Yeah.
There is drainage in that area. Yes, correct. So that was to improve the playing area, just in that soccer field area. So that the drainage stuff, as of right now, will be included in the bid package once we're, you know, finalized with everything. So again, with those soccer fields, they show the full size fields, but those can be made into 45 by 60s, you know, 50 by 80s, 20 by 40s. It could range from various different sizes and stuff like that too. But the large fields is just to show you how big it could be. And that 70 by 115 is a full size field too. Over to the hard courts, or 3 hard courts. So we did change one out from the last meeting. We talked about basketball. So you'll see a basketball court, one basketball court. The middle there is a tennis court, and then off to the left-hand side there is pickleball. There are 4 pickleball courts. The only thing I was going to add to that basically was in between the 2 pickleball courts that go east and west. I was just going to add a small little 4-foot fence, not from end to end, but just basically probably more towards just the middle section of it, just so a ball doesn't go from one side to the other side, while somebody's playing and stuff. So, looking at that pickleball, the 4 courts in between there, there is fencing that separates the two, and then there are some seating and some shade areas, structures that we also had put in from the last meeting. And then, let's see here. You see the large rectangle there, or sorry, the large square would be the current playground that's there, and right above that to the north would be the new pavilion that would be there, which was 32 by 50, I believe, with bathrooms. So this is basically the layout of everything. So if you have any other changes, let me know. But we were basically going to kind of move off of this. The plan was to do the walking path first, and then do the hard courts hard courts for sure, and then possibly hard courts and soccer, or just even just the hard courts and stuff. But and then the pavilion would be the last thing. So that's kind of the layout of everything, and how it kind of we've been working on the last few months. So any questions with those, or any other comments, or anything that we missed?
And that bathroom, does that have like a storage area
Yes.
for equipment and stuff?
Yes.
I thought we had that in there.
Yeah, we had bathroom storage. It would be the pavilion on the back side, so that would be the east side of the pavilion. There would be bathrooms, men's bathrooms, women's bathrooms, and then a storage room.
And that could be made bigger, correct?
Oh, we can make it longer, yeah.
Yeah, the
Correct.
pavilion, yeah.
Yeah. That's just the size that we had went off of. But yeah, that could be made longer. And we could go all the way. You could all the way to that
Sidewalk
the
there.
sidewalk that's there. And the other thing too, up to the north, you'll see a sidewalk connecting from inside the subdivision of the Gate subdivision going to the path, the
Right.
current path. So that would be another entrance into the park.
Right.
We own that, or the town owns that.
Right there.
Yeah, owns that
So
plot
there's a
of land right
sidewalk
there.
coming in.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that would be like
opening to the neighborhood.
neighborhood connection,
Yeah.
basically. You
So
ride
they're
a
not
bike.
walking through the dirt.
Correct.
And Mike, is it your opinion that we phase this out over how many phases and how many years, in your opinion?
Well, the walking path, I know we'll have some funding with the CDBG funds. The hard courts will have some funding with ARPA. I think that, I was looking at doing the walking path now, and then in a sense start, we could bid out the projects for the hard court areas and even the soccer court, because the field to see what it's going to be too. They provided some estimates.
I was just saying,
that
did they
had
give us a
emailed to you guys,
projected cost
Yeah,
estimate?
and I emailed that to all of you to take a look at and stuff. Depending on what the final budget would be and stuff for next year, and for the park improvement, park impact fee stuff, it'll kind of depend on what we can do. I would say we can definitely, the hard courts and definitely the walking paths, for sure. We can get done now, into the fall, winter, and then probably finish up into the spring, I would say.
And
Early
we
summer.
can get the design and everything for the pavilion completed.
Yeah,
how
and
that's
then,
gonna be laid.
correct, yeah. And the pavilion probably be more so,
And we've been
next
working
year.
with the unions as far as having them donate labor as long as we can provide the material. So hopefully that all comes to fruition.
And then, of course, once we bid it out, we could always reject the bid too, if it doesn't fit to what we're doing and stuff. So, but that's basically the plan, or the idea of for the conversations we've had the last few months. So, I was going to tell Robinson to, they still have I know they are behind in their drafting plans, because I was hounding them a little bit to get this for this meeting and stuff like that too. But otherwise, I was going to tell them, we're going to be ready to go. So, and I'll keep, we'll do the walking path, start with that, and then do one at a time.
Let me ask you this, would we be able to have some hard numbers by next month's meeting, in your mind?
Yeah, well, yes, I have some numbers that he gave me, the engineer gave projections. He did get projections on that, so I can resend that to you guys so you guys can.
Well, I
see
guess,
if
you know, I like the idea of getting it started as early as possible, but
Yeah.
I would like, I'm not an arbitrary number guy. I'm a bottom line guy, so I
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
like to see
more
what-
exact cost.
what I'm signing into.
I think, yes, and I know once they get further along, which should be soon, as far as like the bidding documents, then because then all that will itemize out, you know, the fencing for the hard courts, the fencing, you know, the paint on the courts, the dimensions, you know, all that stuff. So then, yes, there would be for sure be more itemized out of kind of what the cost estimate would be.
Is any of the lighting in this?
We don't have any light, well, we have lighting with the pavilion, we show the lighting over at the skate park. We didn't have any lighting, like within the building part of it now, you know.
Like, is that something we want to, because it's a lot easier to put the underground stuff in under the courts, like if we wanted to do, say, someday we're going to put like four corners of lights, or is that something we should do while we're doing the excavation?
You know, from my conversations I've had with Robinson, they had said if, because we could put conduit in the ground, right, kind of what you're saying and stuff like that. Kind of like the skateboard park has the conduit kind of on the east and the north and the south side. Yeah, I mean, we can put it in the ground, and because more than likely they would have to connect to the pavilion anyway, more than anything else. So I would say even if we, you know, put the hard courts in where they're going to be, once we do the pavilion, then we could, you know, do pavilion / lighting. That will do the lighting for the pavilion, because the idea for that is to have like nice lights underneath it, basically.
Sure.
So, and then we can connect that out going towards the hard court areas. So it would be like a phase 2 part of the hard courts. So.
And I know at last month you weren't here, but we did talk about doing just that, because we were like, you know, why would we not do it like they did with the skate
Right.
park? I mean, it just makes sense. You're there, you're digging holes. Let's get it at least started so that we're not tearing anything up in the future.
It's cheap to put in when you're doing it like that.
Right, then you go straight through.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're tearing stuff
Exactly.
up.
Mike, what are you looking from us? You want,
I am just looking for your, I'm looking for your approval on at least the current plan as is, the current concept plan of the park. And then to, and the okay to, in a sense, move forward with the project as far as.
would you like a
the
motion for
standpoint.
that, or?
Yeah, I think, yeah, at least a motion to approve the concept plan as is. And obviously, if we ever want to make changes, obviously we can always make changes to it and stuff, but that we're okay with how this shows as is.
Yeah, I would do it with pending any revisions by Robinson,
Right.
you know, that need to be done.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing I actually, before the meeting, I did ask them to put in the like 4-foot fences in between the east and west pickleball courts. So that's not shown on here, but I have it on my thing. Not that it matters, but.
Okay.
And
Anybody?
honestly, guys, to your point, I think it would be best to have the conduit in there within the plan.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Any other questions or comments? I mean, we knew this day was coming. It was just kind of figuring out where to go and how to go with it, so.
Get there.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, you gotta pull the trigger, so, yeah, I will entertain a motion then to, accept the engineering plan from Robinson as is, pending maybe some adjustments on, or revisions based on some issues that we have not foreseen at this point, including the conduit. I want that to be part
Yeah,
of the,
that's fine.
okay?
Fine.
And, moving forward and getting some, cost estimates and starting, if we can, maybe even this fall, if everything kind of shakes out. So
Okay.
that's my motion.
So moved.
I have
And I will second it.
I'm not
All right.
reading it.
It's okay. So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. So that passes, so we can move forward on that.
And Mr. President, just if I can
Sure.
throw one thought out for you just for future, kind of one of the steps in the process here too, because the Gates Park is owned by the town and not park property, that is going to involve once we're at the point of moving forward for, to put out a bid proposal, would be to have an intergovernmental agreement with the town.
Okay.
So just kind of having that on the horizon, that is gonna be required in any situation where we're working on property that's owned by the town. It's not parks, property specifically, so just wanna kind of throw that out there. I don't foresee that being a situation, especially because this would be paid. It really becomes an issue, kind of like Founder's Park, where it was one grant that was to the town, one grant that was to parks.
Gotcha.
So that
Okay.
the contribution on the funding, so that that money's allocated. So whether or not that's a possibility, if there is going to be joint funding, but if nothing else, because of the joint property.
Okay.
Do we have one from when they did the skate park?
At that point, we had an agreement and resolutions for that.
Interlocal, just clean it. we would clean
Yeah,
it.
and we did the formal interlocal for the other one because of the money specifically. We needed it
Right.
for both grants.
Right,
So that they
gotcha.
had that for the approvals. But yes, it does. It
Okay.
keeps it a lot cleaner that way.
Sounds good.
And could you just kind of review what we have or what you think we need and
Sure.
be able to present that? Okay.
In regard to that agreement.
Because, I mean, obviously, we got to run it by the council.
We would, and what I would propose is that once, obviously, it would be done in phases, as you're discussing, so at the point, once funding is, there's a greater grasp of how that's going to be determined, because that would be something that would need to be laid out in the interlocal. And whether or not it's just an agreement from the town that it's, acquiescing to these improvements being made on the property, there's obviously not other reimbursable agreements or things of that nature. I know it sounds a little complicated, or it sounds a little odd because it's town either way, but because of being.
And we've got some ARPA money that was considered for part of the project as well.
And that was money that was awarded to the town, correct?
Correct.
So,
not to the, so the
Not
interlocal would-
specifically
is
to the
definitely
park
gonna
board.
be
And
necessary.
because of it being the separate legal entities,
Right.
the park board is one of the few, 3 legal or unique
Yeah.
boards in any municipality because of that. So once that'll really become an issue, Dave, once there's the dedication for those funds.
Sounds good. All right. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, we'll move on to item 7, which is reports. We'll start with Councilman Aurelio. You have anything you might want to add?
Yes. Just one last comment on the Gate Parks Improvement Project. When you go to Robinson and when they're putting together the estimates, will they be able to do it per phase where you can kind of see each phase and which component you would have the money and you can afford?
Yeah.
Make
So,
sure they break
yeah.
it down into phases?
I did ask them to, like, for the bidding stuff, right, so the walking path, in a sense, was kind of the plan first, right? So they were gonna take everything out and just, have everything prepared for just the walking path. And then do the hard courts, and I think the soccer field were together to do that. And again, all that would be itemized on there too. So like, even if, like in the bidding process too, right, they list everything for the hard courts and they'll list everything for soccer. And if we say, it's too expensive for the soccer stuff, we're gonna do the hard courts. And then, we could just take all that stuff out, all the itemized stuff out just for soccer and just do all the
And they'll
hard courts and
give
stuff.
an estimate. That way
Yeah.
you know where you can't afford it and you can
Correct.
maximize what kind of park we can get at each phase for the
Correct, yeah.
residents.
Yes.
So, I wanted to say, I really appreciate the thoughtfulness and hard work you guys put into this, and the whole staff for the Parks Department. It is nice to see that. Really has been a nice spring and summer. How about fall? So I was wondering about the schools and the Parks Department and the appetite for, in the old days, we used to do a haunted house, some type of fundraising event for the town. Is there any appetite for a school park board venture? Maybe do like a haunted forest over there, like in the cross-country area over there? Do you think the school would have, or you guys have any appetite for such an animal like that?
I'm not gonna say no.
You can get the drama department involved and,
Yeah.
and make it
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we can, we could just have to, figure out and stuff like that, how to do it. I mean, we still have, we talked a little bit about some fall stuff with the Boo Bash that, the Parks has done and stuff like that, but even doing that, maybe it's something we could try to, combo in, with the school too, and figuring out, what we can do. So, yes, I wouldn't say, the options are there, just.
Give
we'll
us
have
some
to
thought, because we
weigh it
had
out.
done it at the school district I was at, and it was a huge moneymaker. We made, I think we were making $80,000-$90,000 a year.
Oh, nice,
doing
yeah.
this. It was a huge moneymaker. So that was my comment for the day. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Town Manager, Joe, anything?
Thank you. Yes, I do. Tomorrow, the town council is considering the ordinance establishing the new park impact fee. I've had some discussion with some of the council members. I don't know if they're going to support the maximum amount on that. So I don't know where that's going to fall, but basically there were two options that were presented to the council. One was from the Impact Fee Advisory Committee. The other one was from the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission recommended the full amount, whereas the Impact Fee Advisory Committee had recommended 71% of that, and they arrived at that number because of some changes in the math that they did. There was actually logic behind it, and I don't know if I agree with what they came up with, but the consultant recommended a certain amount. Plan Commission approved that. The Impact Fee Advisory Committee recommended a lower amount. So the council's considering, I think, both. And I'm not sure exactly where that's going to fall, but it's gonna happen.
Well, but as I understand it, that number has a ceiling, but
Correct.
it could be anywhere in between,
Correct.
whether it's the impact piece, assessment and what they thought, or what the planning commission thought, or if they just decide, hey, it's a flat, let's just
Because,
say.
right now it's like 1,800 and some. The recommendation was for $3,400.
Right.
Which was to help support a $12 million capital improvement project for community center. And the recommendation was, as I said, the Plan Commission approved that, but the other recommendation was for $2,400. So where that's going to end up, folks, I don't.
But
I
it
don't
could end
know.
up somewhere in between that.
It could be between that, it could be,
Okay.
no change. I
Right.
mean,
Correct.
council has complete jurisdiction over establishing that. They've got the recommendations, they've gone through the legal motions.
Gotcha.
To get it to this point, and that's where we're at tomorrow. It doesn't require two votes, it's a one vote on the ordinance, and establishing X as your fee, as I understand it.
Okay.
I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but
Sure.
that's where we're at with
Hey,
that.
it is what it is.
Yeah. So that's all I have to report this evening.
All right. Thank you. Parks and Recreation Board members. Cindy, anything you want to add?
I just want to give a shout out to Mike, Patrick, and Rebecca for the hard work that you guys did to get that Freedom Fest up and running. And when I left, there were a lot of people, so I don't know what happened after 6:40, but it was packed. So great job on all the energy you put into it.
I agree. Mike?
Where are we at on the batting cage? I saw that they ripped out the old.
Yeah, they're actually back there today working, so.
Yeah, they were out there.
They were out there today. So all the poles are back there. They actually, I think, pick up the poles themselves. They were having, I don't know what, they had a lot of issues getting the stuff delivered and whatnot. But anyway, we're good. They're out there working today. There is a piece of concrete we were fixing on the two corners closer to the Miller Field over there that they were fixing today. They were going to, I don't know if they started doing the holes yet. It was like 2 feet holes that they were going to, round holes for the poles and stuff. So there is a light out there that.
Oh, I was gonna say they got more than one light, but okay.
Yeah. Well, there is a light near the batting cage that it's not in the way, but it basically what might have to happen. We might have to add some additional concrete closer to the woods area, just to make so basically the net would go from like here to like here, just move slightly because there's a light pole that hangs right above that red shed and stuff that's out there and stuff. So, but otherwise,
Is it right by the batting cage?
yeah. Yeah. So, and I wasn't going to move it or anything like that. We could just slightly, shift it down and still get the proper use out of it, still get the proper size out of it, which would be fine and stuff. If we didn't do that, there was a slight chance that we were going to, I didn't want anything overhanging the concrete too, but I wanted
Right.
concrete grass because of the dip and stuff like that too. So otherwise, they were out there today working. They should be out there now, working, and which should have been probably done in March, but it'll be done now.
Good.
So, and it'll look good. Once it's done, though, it's going to look good, though. It's going to be a good plus for anybody who plays out there.
Anything else, Mike?
That's it.
Okay. I got a couple. I too, with Cindy, would want to just say thanks to Patrick and Mike and Rebecca for a fine job with the Freedom Fest. I don't know how many people were there, but I would be willing to bet it was twice as many as the year before. So kudos to you guys. Well done, well designed, worked out great. As far as this weekend will be our first farmer's market at Lake Central. We're hoping that is a positive thing. We've had some people that have opposed the move. We told them that we're hoping that we can at least address it this year and see how it goes and then revisit it, which is still our plan. But at the same token, I hope for a success. I know Shelby and Rebecca and Mike and Pat, everybody's been working hard to make that happen, so I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it will turn out to be the way we hope it will. I appreciate the council and Joe's department and all the people that have worked on this impact fee, expediting that, because that too had a small time frame window that it had to get done, and we're on tap to be on schedule as far as that goes for that lapsing at the end of this month. So yeah, I mean, it's coming together. I appreciate everybody's work and all the background stuff that nobody sees, and that's pretty much all I've got. We'll move on to item number 8, any and all. Anything that we have missed that we need to discuss, Patrick?
I'll just piggyback off of all you guys who are thanking everybody, and I would like to give a little bit of a report as far as the recreational side of things. So as Mike was saying, as the summer is coming to an end, we have one more movie coming up here in July. We have a couple more concerts that have been very well, what I would say is very well attended. Our summer camp is finishing up this Thursday. We had 102 kids throughout the summer in there. So we're doing a big going away celebration at the splash pad on Thursday for them. Our volleyball league is going to be ending here at the beginning of August. And again, that volleyball league, from what I've seen in past years, has had more attendance than we've had in the past. So very excited about that. Like you said, I think the spring and the summer have been phenomenal, and we hope to bring that momentum into the fall with our our new soccer programs, our fall programs, our youth programs, and that kind of thing. And then, yeah, to piggyback off of what you said, we definitely have a lot of events for the fall, whether coming up with Halloween and Christmas, a lot of events coming up for utilizing the park. So thank you guys. I want to thank the board. I want to thank, obviously the residents of St. John. We're not a department without them and without you guys. So I just wanted to thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else here? All right, we'll move on to number 9, public comment. Anyone here that would like to speak in a public forum? Going once. Going twice. All right, we'll close public comment. That leads us to item number 10, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, we have a second, we are adjourned.